Welcome to the Compass Audiocast. I'm your host, Hawa Kambian. Prepare to revisit the compassionate wisdom many of us heard in our youth so that we can mindfully apply it to reimagine a future of work that we can all shape for the better. Welcome back, everyone. Happy to have you here on the Compass Audiocast. As usual, let's dive right in. So today's quote is, "Be kind, everyone you meet has worries." So in childhood, this often meant that sometimes my friends or even adults may behave in ways that I don't understand, and therefore it's important to not take certain behaviors too personally. What it meant when I started working was that sometimes I will behave in ways that I don't understand, and that it's important to have people who are willing to understand and support me. So, my experience with this in work life is around the idea of remote work. So, for many listening, you'll know that remote work is a significant aspect of my work life journey. And the fact is that when I made that switch to working remotely pre-pandemic, it was actually because of some deep mental health challenges I was going through at the time. I was really struggling with what I now think was some burnout from grad school that seeped into my job at the time. So I had anxiety symptoms like panic attacks, inability to sleep, physical and emotional tension, negative thoughts about my safety and well-being. It was a lot. And I was working in a humanitarian/development role in an environment where everyone I was working with was there to do life-changing work that was supporting communities affected by a healthcare crisis. So the challenge here was that as a post-grad or anyone out of school, the greatest relief is often to be able to find and hold down a job that you like even a little bit. And I had all of that. So I was often plagued with the thought, was I really going to let a few sleepless nights and some brain fog get in the way of enjoying this rare experience to the max? So at the time, I had a lot of scarcity fears about even being able to acknowledge what I was going through and to be able to ask for help and potentially take a step back from my work, crossed with having full faith about whether I would get another work experience like this. And then there were also fears of criticism about how people might judge such a decision to come forward and put a pause on work. And so those were some of the unhelpful narratives that were swimming in my brain at the time. And what I really wanted, and why this was a problem, is that, when you're working, especially in a humanitarian or a sort of urgent care environment, it can seem like a contradiction to come and work in a space where resilience is the theme and to not be able to match that resilience yourself, right? And I wanted the energy and the peace of mind that I could conquer and achieve my professional potential in the traditional ways, just like everybody else. However, I'm not like everybody else. And my body was bringing that to my full attention with every passing day that I suppressed my experience with anxiety. Coupled with that was I was crushing it at my job. I was doing great. And to some extent, that was also a way of distracting myself and avoiding the anxiety I was feeling, right? I was organized, professional, on the ball. And so again, why would I risk that? Why would I risk what I had created or have people gasp or perceive a potential fall from grace by removing myself from that experience, right? And if I spoke up about the potential of working remotely, would I be seen as innovative or uncommitted? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe so that these messages can reach and support professionals and leaders as they navigate the workplace. So now let's talk about how I built a bridge to get over this. So in my negative state, I was avoiding dealing with my issues, and it was actually making things worse, as is usually the case in life. So part of my challenge was prioritizing work and achievement in that area with fulfillment in other areas of my life, right? So if remote work was on the table, what might the potential concerns be about me maintaining my effectiveness in that role, right? What would happen for some of my core duties like relationship management? How would things stay organized? Those were many of the negative potential outcomes that kept me from wanting to move forward. When again, the positive that we were really aiming for and really desiring was to feel like I wasn't sacrificing what I wanted for myself in one area for the ideal work life. So as independent and mobile as I had been throughout a lot of my life and education and career, I was beginning to realize how much my chosen environments were impacting me and how much my anxious self at the time needed the balance of familiarity for my nervous system, as opposed to all of the location hopping I had been doing. Because at that point, through grad school, I think every 4 months I had been moving over the last year and a half. And the argument could be made that once I was more in alignment and more in balance, that I would actually have the potential to be even better at my role with more energy and imagination to support the organization. And this is such an important distinction because many, and I would argue most people, are balancing their personal well-being to participate and contribute to organizations. COVID showed us that remote work was an option when we no longer had the luxury of being in person. And understanding our system variables and organizing them appropriately can make all the difference. People, processes, and tools. And this is largely what organizations had to do when COVID happened. So from my perspective, remote work is a process that requires the right kind of relationship dynamics, i.e. people, and tools, i.e., technology, to be effective. So in my case, not only did this system end up working for me, I was able to get promoted and advance my career while doing so. And that is largely because of the harmonious system that was created to enable success. So whether it's remote work or some other way of operating, organizations that can be aware, responsive, engaged, and responsible towards the type of systems that will enable their teams to be successful, those are the types of organizations that are intentionally preparing and co-creating for the future of work. Today, we could say the same about understanding and configuring our work towards themes like AI, which is a tool, and its impact on processes and people. So leaders who are willing to explore and pilot systems that put people at the center are leading the future of work. So how do I like to think about things today when I encounter a system that's in need of some improvement or change, really? First, listen to yourself, to others, and really understand what problem or challenge is perceived. You might realize that the issue is around mindset or process or the tools involved. So in my scenario, I could have had extreme thinking that my only options were to stay at my job and continue to struggle or leave the organization outright. Instead, I explored how a solution that tweaked processes and tools might work better. Second, logic. Understanding sequence is important in terms of step-by-step processes. To be fair, a lot of knowledge work or artistic work does not always have a clear or linear step-by-step process, but understanding the technicality or creativity involved can inform how you adjust in order to align to bigger goals. So for example, me doing work on a laptop in location A was not much different from me doing work on a laptop in location B. So technical disruption was limited. However, me doing my check-ins and relationship management work with someone face-to-face in location A requires a different level of finesse and engagement am I to be in location B. And third, support. Have people in your corner, have shared ways of working, and have tools to back you up. They are each important. And thankfully, I had open-minded and kind leaders who trusted my character and cared enough about my well-being to support the shift to remote work. They also ensured that we communicated regularly and had the Google Docs and the task management systems to keep everything clear and functioning. So ensure that your systems can define and supply support. Is your team struggling to lead, communicate, and collaborate among distributed, virtual, and remote teams for results? At HKC, we enable you to co-create a dynamic and people-centered work environment where team members feel valued, motivated, and empowered to contribute their best efforts through leveling up key leadership behaviors, including strategic communication and remote work management. Visit our website for more. So reflecting on the life change here in connection to a need for kindness that also is integrated with the bigger organization, for me it was life-changing because not only did I move home, I thrived in a remote role. I mean, I really rocked it. And it allowed me to better balance different areas of my life. And I then had more energy, focus, and imagination to offer the organization and my team. So speaking up for my needs was the first kindness for myself. And that's the biggest takeaway. You have to believe that you deserve support and be willing to explore and receive help before people can really rally and show up for you with solutions. And looking back, this is connected to my definition of success because it was one of my first introductions to really healthy boundary setting and leaning into my curiosity. When I made my pitch to work remotely, I 10,000% understood that I might get shot down or the idea might be deemed infeasible or undesirable. But I did it anyway. I had nothing to lose at that point in being vulnerable about my needs because at best, I would get the support I actually needed, and at worst, I'd be able to move on and take care of myself. So courage and curiosity can take us places we never imagined, and to me, that's always an uplifting thought. Thanks for tuning in to the Compass Audiocast, where we bridge past, present, and positive for the future of work. Please like this post if you found it useful, share it with someone who may need to hear it, and subscribe if you want to be notified when the next one comes out. Let's work together on your team management for more collaboration, agility, and empowerment for the future of work. Leave me a comment to share a time when your work system put people at the center for an improved experience. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.